Hey everyone, in today's video I'm going to be going over the bench press, and specifically a couple things that you can do to actually increase your strength on there and prevent injury and anterior shoulder pain, which a lot of people experience anterior shoulder pain, just meaning the front of their shoulder hurting, which is usually just caused from impingement. So the 5 things that I'm going to be going over today are generating external rotational force and torque through the arms, going into thoracic extension during a lift, the importance of having a lift off, the importance of keeping your feet flat on the floor, and the importance of keeping your shoulder blades, your scapula, in a retracted position during the movement. So to start off, the first one is generating external rotational force on the bar to add torque. Now what this means is basically when you grab the bar, I want you to grab it and torque on it like this, as though you are trying to like bend it like that. Okay, obviously you're not going to be able to do that with an Olympic bar, but that's what I want you to do. Okay, doing that will lock your shoulders down into a more stable, externally rotated position, and it will add torque through the kinetic chain down your arm, which will allow you to press a greater weight. The second benefit of doing this is that most people are stuck in a medially rotated position. I've made other videos about this in the past, but most people are rotated in, so that by adding that external rotational force, you can clear up a lot of impingement in the shoulder here, which is a huge cause of shoulder pain during the lift. Secondly, the importance of keeping the scapula retracted. Okay, so what I mean by that is the importance of keeping your shoulder blades. So basically, when you push your scapula, your shoulder blades are naturally supposed to protract. They're supposed to move out like that. Okay, but the reason why I don't like allowing that to happen when you're doing a bench press on a bench, it's different if you're on a Swiss ball, if you're doing like a standing cabled chest press, but on a bench press I don't advocate allowing the scapula to protract, because guess what happens? When you pull your arms back in like this, they're also naturally supposed to retract. But if you're on a bench and you're holding 315 above your chest, when you protract your scapula, the bench is going to stop them from retracting properly, and basically that puts a lot of stress on the glenohumeral joint in your shoulder here, and that can lead to all sorts of shoulder pathologies and injuries. So just to avoid that happening, it's good to get in a habit of keeping the shoulder blades retracted back like this at all times. Thirdly is thoracic extension. So basically the thorax is the area of your spine from your down here at the base of your neck to your abdomen, so basically your chest. And what I mean by thoracic extension is basically sticking your chest up like this. Okay, this is thoracic flexion, this is extension. Okay, so one thing I like to tell my clients when they're benching is I have them imagine a cord attached to their chest, pulling it up in the air like this, so their chest is out. All right? And the reason for that is that by doing that, by going into thoracic extension, your pectoralis muscles, your pec major and your pec minor, these big tissues here in the front of your chest, which are the prime movers in the bench press, by putting them into an extended position like that, it gives them the proper length to contract and produce the most force that way. So essentially, you're going to be stronger having done that. It's really bad to let your chest flatten out like this when you're bench pressing, because usually coupled with thoracic, a neutral thoracic spine or a flexed thoracic spine comes the scapular protraction, which we don't want to do on the bench press. Fourthly is the importance of keeping your feet on the ground. So I can't tell you how many times I've been spotting my clients and they just, they're struggling. I'm about to spot them, and on their last rep, right before I can get in and spot them, they start kicking and flailing their legs around like this. Okay, that's a horrible thing to do. You should never ever take your feet off the ground, especially if you're attempting like a maximal lift, like a 1-rep max. You're testing to see how strong your bench is, because a lot of the force that you generate during the bench press actually originates from the floor. It travels up your ankles, up your lower leg extremity, and basically it's transferred all throughout the body into the arms. Okay, so you're driving from the legs. If you watch a power lifter bench press, you'll see their quads contracting really hard. I've even heard stories of athletes tearing like their quadricep or their hip flexor muscle during a bench press, and people are like, how the hell did you do that? You're bench pressing, you're working your upper body. It's because a lot of the torque and a lot of the power in the bench press comes from the leg drive. So never ever take your feet off the ground during a bench press. Lastly is the importance of having a liftoff. So this becomes really important if, like I said earlier, you're attempting a maximal lift. So if you're testing your 1 rep max, even if you're not, even if you're doing some heavy weight to even a moderate weight with working sets of like 8 to 10 repetitions, you always want to lift off, not because, you know, you're weak. And I advise you guys not to let your ego in the way here, because essentially not having liftoff is bad in 2 ways. First of all, when your shoulder is in a flexed position back like this, and then you load it with like 315 in an attempt to pull it back over your chest here, your shoulder is not meant to bear a lot of weight in a flexed position back here. Okay, this is shoulder flexion, this is extension. Okay, a lot of people develop shoulder pathologies and hurt their shoulder, soft tissue injuries, things like that, during the liftoff, the unracking of the bar, before they even start their set. So this becomes especially important if you're lifting heavy weights. But another reason why you want to do that, or have a liftoff, is because you use a lot of energy to lift off the bar, okay? And this might not be that noticeable when you're, lifting light or you're doing something for 10 to 12 repetitions, but I'll tell you what, it will affect the amount of weight that you can bench press. So again, coming back to the 1 repetition maximal lift example, if you're attempting a 1 rep max and you don't have a lift off, it's going to dramatically influence your performance on that set. And it's not uncommon for people to blow their wad, essentially, lifting off the bar off the rack and then fail on their 1 rep max attempt just because they didn't have a lift off. So, chances are likely, you should do this anyway, that you're going to have a spotter there with you if you're doing a maximal lift. Just have that person give you a lift off and you'll be much better off. All right, so here's what those 5 things are going to look like in real time. First of all, you're going to lay back on your bench, okay? Before you even do anything, it's important to get those scapula in a retracted position, okay? Once you are bearing the weight, it's really hard to tuck them underneath, okay? So what I suggest you do is, as soon as you lean back, grab the bar, then tuck those scapula together. You're trying to pinch the shoulder blades together here, essentially, okay? From here, your spotter is going to be standing behind you here. Your scapula are retracted, you grab the bar, you already start to produce that external rotational force, and remember, you're going to keep that going during the whole movement here. Okay, so scapula are retracted, chest is in thoracic extension, it's up in the air here. You're already generating that external rotational force. Your feet are planted solidly on the ground. Okay, your spotter is standing behind you, he's going to give you a lift off on 1, 2, 3. It's very important that you don't let the scapula protract during the liftoff, okay? If the spotter is there, he will help you off and it won't be necessary to do this, okay? Just now, my shoulders are in a protracted position, and now it's gonna be really hard to tuck them back. So keep them tucked back from the beginning. Keep those feet on the floor, thoracic spine extended, chest up in the air, torque in the bar like this, okay? 1, 2, 3. Lift off, inhale on the way down, exhale on the way up. And that's pretty much it, guys. A lot of this is pretty common advice, except for the external rotational force. That's a new thing that I've read by the work of Dr. Kelly Starrett. He's a physical therapist. That has done wonders for my bench press, as well as alleviating anterior shoulder pain that I've experienced here. Hope you guys liked that video. Do not forget to subscribe. And I just want to thank all of you that have subscribed so far. Stay tuned because I'm going to continue to post new content every week. And if you haven't already, be sure to like the video down below, and I'll see you next time.